Welcome in Olympic Ice solo show tonight from myself, Nick Burt, Matt Merrifield rejoining us tomorrow. First full day of action at the Olympics. We had 2 games yesterday. We had the full 4-game slate today. And then it's 4 games tomorrow, 4 games Saturday, 4 games Sunday. And then we're on to the quarterfinals or the play-out round, whatever you want to call it, because those are 2 very different things. But what a day of action. And the only thing I can say is I never forgive Gary Bettman for making us wait 12 years for best on best hockey. I get there was a World Cup thrown in there. We had the 4 nations last year. 4 nations facing off is one thing. 12 nations facing off, completely different thing. So much action today. Let's get straight into our recaps. Switzerland, not surprisingly, pull out a 4-0 victory over France. 2 goals in the first 5 minutes from Switzerland, kind of dies down in the rest of the first and then into the second. They then score 2 in 6 minutes in the third period, and that was that. France obviously just never truly felt like they had a lot going on today. They did have 27 shots, but were any of them great? No, not really. 38-year-old Leonardo Giannoni, who gets the start for Switzerland today, becomes the oldest goalie in the NHL Olympic era with a shutout, 27 saves today. Like I said, Switzerland's 43 shots today. 2 of their goals came from basically right outside the crease. Again, not much to take away here. We kind of all figured this was going to happen. You get Timo Meier getting 2 goals today. He got the 2 in the third period. Damian Riot gets the first goal of the game. That was 55 seconds into the game on the power play. And then it was J.J. Moser at 3:06 in the first period that got the second goal of the game. Like I said, not really surprising here. I don't really think there's many takeaways from this game. But overall, Switzerland get a much-needed dominating victory from what we saw yesterday. Kind of upsets, teams lingering in games. Switzerland put it to bed early and said, we're not dealing with that today. Let's how you doing? Keep it moving. The other game of the Group A action, that was our second puck drop of the day. It was the game both me and Matt said was going to be a 1-goal game. It was not. It was not even close. Canada defeats Switzerland 5-0. Wow. Again, like I said, Gary Bettman will never be forgiven for 12 years of not having this. I get that 2022 was kind of out of his control. The NHL was going, and then they just couldn't take the COVID risk anymore. And listen, it happened. But 2018 was inexcusable and just disaster. I'm not going to ramble on anymore here. What a phenomenal game from Canada today. Your goal scorers. Macklin Celebrini gets the first goal for Canada in this game with 6 seconds remaining in the first period. Mark Stone, Bo Horvath both score in the second. Nathan McKinnon, Nick Suzuki score in the third. If you look at the assists here, you have Cale Makar, Connor McDavid, Mitch Marner, Sidney Crosby, Brad Marchand, Thomas Harley. And those are your assist leaders. It was McDavid had 3, Crosby had 2, and Harley had 2. Dominating game from Canada. The Czechs look lost out there. And that honestly started with their goaltending decision. Me and Matt discussed this in length yesterday and in the preview show that the Czechs have a few good options with what they have. None of them are outstanding, but they went with Vladar today. Vejmelka was not even dressed, which shocked me. Out of the three that they have, honestly, I don't know why they thought Dostal was going to be the guy today. Obviously, it's the first Olympic appearance for a lot of them, but Dostal is the youngest of the three. He's the future of Czech goaltending. Is he the second coming of Dominik Hasek? No, but again, with the way Vejmelka has been playing this year, I thought he 100% was going to be the starter today. Obviously, he was not. Vladar was your bench goalie, so your backup. Again, not really sure why there, but whatever. The other side, goaltending-wise, Jordan Binnington kind of looks really good. Made 26 saves today. Something about putting on the maple leaf for Binnington that turns him into a god. Now, we'll get into it when we get to the previews for tomorrow, but he's not going to start tomorrow. I know Cooper already said it's going to be two different goalies on the back-to-back. So my guess is Thompson goes tomorrow because Kemper was the third today, so he was not dressed. Hey, I don't know. I really... We'll circle back tomorrow on the goaltending question, but Binnington is looking like he's going to make it hard to take him out of the net. And that's going to be the kind of goalkeeper you need in this tournament, especially when you get to probably the quarterfinals on. Because for Canada, not that they're going to be coasting these next two games, I kind of want to say the talent level goes down a little bit. With the way Switzerland looked today, maybe not tomorrow. But obviously with the French game, they may put up 10 on France, just given the absolute talent that Canada have. When you have Sidney Crosby on the third line, you are a bounty of talent. Also, can't go without saying the power play, lethal for Canada. Crosby, McDavid, McKinnon, Makar, Reinhart. That's unbelievable. I know we saw it at the Four Nations, but my God, that is unbelievable. Biggest thing, well, not the biggest thing for Canada, but a major thing for Canada is Josh Morrissey leaves injured today. Tried to come back, couldn't. At least that's what John Cooper said after the game. Canada's hopeful that it's not serious, but you never know how that goes. So Canada, like I said, dominate. We'll get into tomorrow up here soon. Let's move on. Group B action. It was a doubleheader in that 3:10 window here in the Eastern time zone. The U.S., it was a little sketchy for the first half of the game, but they end up pulling out the 5-1 victory. Like I said, sketchy. Brady Tkachuk scores the first goal for the U.S. It was minutes later, Quinn Hughes finds the back of the net. That the Latvians challenge it for offsides. It ends up being offsides, so the goal gets called back. Then Krastenbergs goes down, scores, ties the game 1-1, and then it was just minutes later. Shot bounces around it, hits JT Miller, deflects off JT Miller into the back of the net, is 2-1 U.S. Latvia challenges again, this time for goaltender interference. And controversially, although if you read the rules, especially double IHF rules, with the way we're going for this tournament, 100% goaltender interference. There is no contact allowed basically whatsoever in the crease. JT Miller does bump him a little, so that is technically goaltender interference. Now, NHL refs, do they know what goaltender interference is? No. So, does it matter? No, but if that happens in the NHL, it's probably not goaltender interference. I can go back 2 days ago and whatever that third goal was for the U.S. women against Canada, that was reviewed for goaltender interference. That wasn't for some reason, even though that had much more contact than this did. Whatever. But like I said, the U.S. and Latvia go tied 1-1 going into the first intermission. Latvia keeps getting chances to begin the second, but then it's Brock Nelson breaks the ice kind of, and that's where the floodgates open. He scores just past the halfway point in the game. Tage Thompson would make it 3-1 on the power play with just a filthy backhander. Ice Bus UConn shout out on that one. And Brock Nelson would get his second of the period with just 12 seconds left in the second, makes it 4-1. And Austin Matthews would get his first goal of the Olympics on the power play 2 minutes into the third. And that would be all she wrote there. U.S. walks away 5-1. Hellebuck looked fine. He didn't face many shots. He faced 18 shots, saved 17 of 18. Again, was the goal he let in questionable? Yeah, but I don't think it really matters. He'll start on Saturday against Denmark, most likely, unless they're going to flip it. The biggest thing for me, I was shocked that they dressed Swayman today instead of Ottinger. I feel like Ottinger is the number 2 goalie for the U.S., not Swayman. That's a very interesting decision for me. I'm going to be monitoring that situation to see how that plays out. U.S. kind of looked dominating, though. That it may have been sketchy for the first half of the game, but again, they still look very good. And in our final game of the day, took place at the same time as Germany walking away with a 3-1 victory over Denmark. Leon Draisaitl opens the scoring 23 seconds into the game, giving Germany the 1-0 lead. It would be Oscar Fisker Molgaard scoring right around 7 minutes left in the first period, tying this game at 1-1. And then it would be Tim Stützle in the second period gets 2 goals. He gets one at the 4:20 mark and then just past the halfway mark at 10:02. The second goal was on the power play. Germany, I kind of expected a little bit more dominating in this one, even though they did not have the advantage in shots today. They had 26 compared to Denmark's 38, which a little shocking to me, but again, does it really matter when you have 2 goals in the back of the net? No. It seems like Germany is going to play a little bit more of that defensive type game. Let the shots come. Let Grubauer do the work. Capitalize on mistakes. Let's see what, Stützle, Draisaitl, Seider, what they can all do. Tiffels, Wagner, Peterka, kind of see what they do on the counterattack and hope that it works and give Grubauer the share of the work, basically, and make that defensive back line get in their minutes here. Overall, though, I don't think anything was truly a shocking result today. It is what it is. Can't really complain about what we saw because we had some absolutely entertaining hockey today. That only gets better tomorrow, honestly. We are in for such a treat. Let's get right into it. 6:10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is 12:10 p.m. in Milan. What a great rivalry we are starting out with. Group B, it's Finland, it's Sweden. I can't wait. Wow. We are so blessed with this game. Yes, I do wish it was a little bit later. Do I wish this was prime time in Finland and Sweden, which means this game would be on at, 3:10 p.m. Eastern? Yeah, but I'm not going to complain about getting to see two of the best nations and probably the best game of the group stage, if we're honest. These two teams, very good. Both still have a lot to prove. Finland coming off the loss to Slovakia. They need to make a statement here. For me, question is Saros back in net? I honestly don't know if you can put him back in net. I think you got to go to LinkedIn in this game. Saros just looked so bad, and the Swedes are a better team than what Slovakia was, and we saw what happened there. But for the Swedes too, they looked so poor against the Italians for most of that game. And was that partially because they were playing down to their opponent and, they didn't feel like they needed to play their A game? That's very real possibility, and that might be exactly what happened. But there's no better way to find that out than with a just absolute stunner of a rivalry game. I personally cannot wait for this game. This is going to be tough because, honestly, I think the goaltending makes a huge difference here. If Langton is starting, I honestly might give Finland the slight advantage here. The biggest problem for them, and we've stated it so many times, who is scoring for Finland? Game 1 was not indicative of anything, but we mentioned Mikko Rantanen was a ghost out there. Sebastian Aho really couldn't be found. It was Luosterainen, I believe, had the only goal of the game. Who's scoring? Sweden, I think we know who's scoring. I think they're going to stick in net the same that they did with the Italy game. I know it's, not exciting, but I don't know if you make a change after that win. They let in 2 bad Italian goals, but I think you still run with Gustafsson for this game against Finland. Overall, though, this is a massive, massive, massive game for Finland. Given their loss already, if you can win this game, gives you a better shot of potentially winning the group, given you have Italy to close out. And if Sweden win, that's basically... Honestly, no, that's not group done because they'll still have to play Slovakia. We'll get into that game in a minute, but they're playing Italy tomorrow, obviously. I'm still going to go with Sweden here just because I have better faith in them scoring. That's my biggest thing right now. I have more faith in Sweden scoring than I do Finland. Our other game, in Group B action, same time, same puck drop time. It's Italy-Slovakia. Damien Clare's health. I'm not 100% sure if he's starting tomorrow. I haven't seen any Italian reports on where he is injury-wise. I hope he starts tomorrow. It makes it much more interesting given the performance he put on against the Swedes. I officially am a Slavkovsky believer. This dude becomes generational in the Olympics. What I saw on Wednesday, which reminded me of what I saw in 2022 when he was playing for the Slovaks in Beijing, I can't bet against him now. I really can't. And against the Italians too, give me Slovakia here. Give me 4-1, I think. Feel like that seems fair. Listen, Slovakia might be good. They might be really good. Obviously, they didn't look terrible. They started Hlarja in goal. Obviously, the Minnesota Wild AHL keeper in Iowa we mentioned yesterday, he's like 46th in goals against average in the AHL this year. Stood on his head against Finland. Does he have another performance in him against a easier competition? We'll see. I'm not really sure how that one's going to play out. Let's get into our next game. We move back to Group A action. Group A are the ones playing the back-to-back. Tomorrow, France and Czechia. For Czechia, this is you have to win this game, and you got to win by multiple goals. Today was a awful performance from them. I would be shocked if Dostal is starting tomorrow. One, given it's a back-to-back. Two, given what transpired today. I get they are playing a generational team, but you got lit up for 5 goals. And now you're playing France. You've got to get a win. You got to find the back of the net. For the Czechs, this is a absolutely massive game. For France, it's try to find the back of the net. Maybe. Because I'm still not convinced they can do that. I haven't seen much to tell me that they can, so yeah. And our final game of the day, obviously goal differential is still a thing. There are chances that things could come into play, but this most likely is a game to decide who's getting that bye into the quarterfinals for Group A. And now, again, it could still be both, depending on how that 4th place team plays out that gets the bye. But this game most likely decides who's getting that bye. 3:10 puck drop here in the Eastern Standard Time Zone. Again, like I said, I'm assuming it's going to be Thompson tomorrow in net. Cooper already said yesterday we're starting 2 different goalies on Thursday, Friday. So given we saw Bennington, I'm going to assume it's Thompson, given Thompson was the backup. I honestly don't know, talent-wise, if there's much difference between Sweden and the Czechs. I'm going to be very interested to see how this game plays out, because Switzerland, obviously they played against the French today. That's not going to tell you much, but they looked good. They looked good. They didn't look great. They looked good. That they can put a scare into somebody. Now, I said the same thing about the Czechs, and this game ended up 5-0. So, overall, I may be a little bit more pro-Canada today than I was yesterday. They'll probably win by 2 or 3 goals. Hey, if the talent train keeps churning, they're going to be fine. Overall, though, I do think Canada kind of wins a bit easier here in this one. Overall, though, another exciting 4 games of action. Like I said, starting out with that, Finland-Sweden game tomorrow. That's a great start. Honestly, Canada-Switzerland, a great finish to it. And in between, you got those 2 games, which you never know. You might get a shock there. So that's going to wrap it up here on Olympic Ice. Thank you so much for watching here on the Nick Bird Sports Network. We'll be back tomorrow, recap these games, preview Saturday's games. Matt should be back tomorrow. Shouldn't be another episode of me rambling on for almost 24 minutes. So thank you so much for watching. We will see you again soon here on the Nick Bird Sports Network.